I'm Aira.
I'm Bea. I'm Lawrence.
The Prodigal Son.
Have you ever admitted that you're lost, sinner, and asking for repentance for what you have done?
Have you ever rejected your child just because he or she made a mistake?
Do you consider yourself as a self-righteous individual?
We will answer those questions at the end of the video because today we will be sharing to you the parable of the lost son in the book of Luke, chapter 15, verse 11 to 32. So, here's the video of the lost son who finds his way back to himself.
A certain man had 2 sons. And the younger of them said to his father, Father, give me the portion of goods that falleth to me. And he divided unto them his living. And not many days after, the younger son gathered all together and took his journey into a far country, and there wasted his substance with riotous living. And when he had spent all, there arose a mighty famine in that land, and he began to be in want. And he went and joined himself to a citizen of that country, and he sent him into his fields to feed swine. And he would fain have filled his belly with the husks that the swine did eat, and no man gave to him. And when he came to himself, he said, How many hired servants of my father's have bread enough and to spare? I will go to my father, and will say unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before thee, and am no more worthy to be called thy son. Make me as one of thy hired servants. And he arose and came unto his father. But when he was yet a great way off, his father saw him and had compassion, and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. And the son said unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and in thy sight, and am no more worthy to be called thy son. But the father said to his servants, Bring forth the best robe, and put it on him. And put a ring on his hand, and shoes on his feet. And bring hither the fatted calf, and kill it, and let us eat and be merry. For this my son was dead, and is alive again. He was lost and is found. And they began to be merry. Now his eldest son was in the field. And as he came and drew nigh to the house, he heard music and dancing. And he called one of the servants and asked him what these things meant. And he said unto him, Thy brother is come, and thy father hath killed the fatted calf, because he hath received him safe and sound. And he was angry, and would not go in. Therefore came his father out and entreated him. And he, answering his father, said, Lo, these many years do I serve thee. Neither transgressed I at any time thy commandment, and yet thou never gavest me a kid, that I might make merry with my friends. But as soon as this thy son was come, which hath devoured thy living with harlots, thou hast killed for him the fatted calf. And he said unto him, Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. It was meet that we should make merry and be glad. For this thy brother was dead, and is alive, and was lost, and is found.
The story of the prodigal son, also called Parable of the Lost Son, Luke 15, verse 11 to 32. The characters are Father, who portrays the forgiving father. Next is the eldest son, who portrays the sanctimonious son. And the last one is the youngest son, who portrays the lost son. Parable of the Lost Son symbolizes all of fallen mankind, symbolizes each individual sinner, demonstrates the path of repentance. The story begins with a father who has two sons who shows his love for his lost son. It's a story about misery, uncertainty, brokenness, and amazing grace. Definition of terms. Parable. A usually short fictitious story that illustrates a moral attitude or a religious principle. Prodigal. Characterized by profuse or wasteful expenditure, recklessly spent thrift. Inheritance. Something that is or may be inherited. Property passing at the owner's death to the heir or those entitled to succeed. Legacy. Squander. To waste money or to use something valuable that you have a limited amount of in a bad or foolish way. Famine. A severe shortage of food as through crop failure or overpopulation. Pod. A long, narrow, flat part of some plants such as beans and peas that contains the seeds and usually has a thick skin. Legume plant. Servant is someone who performs work or task for another person. Compassion, a feeling of deep sympathy and sorrow for another who is stricken by misfortune, accompanied by a strong desire to alleviate the suffering. Contrition, in the Roman Catholic Church, the repentance of past sins during or after confession. The moral of the story. Sin is an immortal act considered to be transgression against divine law. After we commit sin, we felt sorrow and lost, just like the younger brother. The moral lesson of the story is that when we commit mistakes or sins, we must admit that we are wrong and go back to our Creator just like the younger brother did. He went back to his father and be his father's servant because he realized that he sinned to his father and to God in heaven. As a human, sometimes we feel like we're lost and we don't know what to do anymore. We must put in our hearts and mind that there's always God, the Father, that will love and accept us no matter what sin we commit, just like the father did in the story.
The story of the prodigal son, the realization are, first, I realized that God will provide us our needs and wants because He loves us. The next one is that God will give us ways to bring us back to Him. Sometimes we may feel like we're hopeless, but we need to remember that God is always there to help us in surpassing challenges and trials in our life. Also realize that loving our parents is also loving God, because God is our mentor in our life, and also our parents guide us.
A father's love is unbeatable. In the story of a prodigal son, the father was good. He had shown his love and care for his son throughout his life, although his son rejected the love he gives. But at the end of the day, his heart gives him the courage to come back to his father. Furthermore, a father is unable to neglect his kids. He provides everything they need and sometimes even more, because true and unconditional love is hard to ignore and it's hard to push away. Always remember that even though we take them for granted, sometimes He is there to embrace and love you wholeheartedly because you are His child. So as a child, give value to everything your Father gives to you. Treasure it and do not measure the love He offers you because He does His utmost to equally love you.
Considering the video of the parable of the prodigal son, the elder brother is a self-righteous person. He questioned his father about what the younger brother gets even if he is a rebellious one. Even though our sibling made a mistake or have sinned, there's a lot of advantages in having them. It is likely to make things simpler having them by our side. Parents played a significant role for the life of their children. They make sacrifices for us, never question or complain about what our parents given to us. Yet it makes me realize that all of the things that given to us are equal and treated fairly. Our parents are always there for us no matter what happened, to support us, to guide us, to love us, and to protect us. We have to be satisfied on what we have. Being fulfilled with what we have, you can live happily and contented with your family members.
My reflection about this parable is that it captures the love of God from us. Because even all of us are sinners, yet He is still willing to forgive and accept us with open arms. Moreover, we must not be envious of our fellow men if they receive more blessings, maybe because the right time is not yet for us. We should always be grateful to Him no matter how many blessings we have, because every day is a blessing as long as we're alive. Lastly, we must learn how to respect and value all the things He has done for us. Let us not abuse it, because it doesn't mean that He loves us unconditionally. We have the right to waste it.